Okay, can you all hear me? First of all, I'm having some technical difficulties here, so I just want to make sure I can be heard. I want to welcome everybody, young, vibrant Lowell, just Andrea, Mrs. Diva One. I want to welcome you all. Am I live? Because I can't hear myself. I don't hear anything. Okay, let me type in chat. I'm lagging. Young, can you hear me? No sound. Okay. I'm lagging. Okay. Hold on, please. I was on mute trying to fix the problem. Fix the problem. Sorry, um, but we'll see. This isn't going to be a long life at all. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit. I don't know if anyone had the opportunity to stop playing like that. Stop playing like that. Hey, Christopher W., how are you doing? Okay, I want to get through my commentary here. It's not very long. Um, I don't know if you all had the opportunity to see the video, and it's it's like 10 seconds of video there. I don't want to add it here because of copyright issues and so forth. But the video concerns Cam Newton. I think most of us know who he is. He is a former NFL football player, quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. He started with the Carolina Panthers. He ended with the Carolina Panthers. He is a 2010 Heisman Trophy. Good. Winner out of Auburn. He's originally from Atlanta. He was in Atlanta this past weekend doing a football tournament for the youths. He is a heavy community-oriented athlete. So we often talk a lot, and I'm using we as a collective about what Black athletes are doing or not doing for their respective communities. But Cam Newton, he gives back a lot, and he was there for a tournament. Hey, Strictly Platinum, I hope you're doing well. And this TSP, I don't know if they are affiliated with that tournament. I don't think so, but that's speculation on my part. But at any rate, some people felt the need to approach him, and one person initially tried to hit him, blindside him, and he held that person back, and I think it looks on the video like maybe 4 people tried to jump him, basically. And he is 6'6", 250 pounds, all muscle. And I have had the privilege of, okay, Just Andrea. So you can go to Just Andrea's link and, look at the video. I have had the privilege of seeing the man play. not that up close and personal as I would have liked to have been, but he's a big guy, uh, definitely. So uh, the point is really we complain collectively again about what Black athletes aren't and are doing for the Black community. And when things like this happen, it makes it very difficult. It really does to say, okay, I'm going to go into the community and do anything. And before people say, well, that was just one incident, uh, it's one is one too many. You know, when you are trying to help your community, and there's a lot of talk about what Black athletes, especially when they're high profile, like Cam Newton, are and aren't doing. And he, LeBron James, and if we want to go all the way back, we can do that too. Chef Chopino, I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it right. Chopino, welcome. We can go all the way back to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Muhammad Ali. These were athletes who really, you know, it's a different time in sports, and they were activists. And we know with Muhammad Ali, he walked the walk and he talked the talk. Okay. So, hey, Trish, I hope you're doing well. So, yeah, I just wanted to have a conversation. Okay. Thank you. I wanted to have a conversation because this is my position on this. It makes it very difficult, and I can understand why. Black athletes don't want to go back into the community. I'm not saying it's right. Let me make that clear. But every time you have an incident like this, and you can say, well, this again was just one, but it's one too many. People are getting too bold. And there was an incident with Kevin Durant at one of the games. I think it may have been practice. I'm not sure. Where these two individuals thought that they could, you know, just say very disrespectful things. So it's the disrespect, the amount of disrespect that's occurring, especially in general, but certainly where people feel they're not just happy to be at a game and see these individuals. They feel like they have to say something to them, and it's alcohol can be involved. You know, it's speculation, whatever the case might be. But you're not grateful, and it's just this sheer unmitigated audacity to even walk up to the guy, try to sucker punch him, and then turn around and, you know, try to jump him too. Now, if it was a different athlete, and I know that some of you all watch ESPN, you know who Shannon Sharp is. Of course you do, if nothing else from the Cat Williams interview, right? But if it was a different athlete, somebody would have gone home with a broken jaw. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I think that these individuals know who to target. And he did not put his hands like he could have on any of them. And so it should be applauded for that. But personally, I think that when the police showed up, they should have taken them to jail, if nothing else, for disturbing the peace. But, you know, we can't have it all ways. And this is specific to the Black community. I want to talk to the Black community for a minute or two, and saying that, look, you can't get on your high horse. Oh, okay. You can't get on your high horse and say what this Black entertainer or this Black athlete, or you know, when they make it, they become successes, what they're not doing for the community, and then turn around and see what just transpired and say, oh, well, that was one incident. And, I'm certain because Cam Newton has been doing this for years. This is not anything new with him being involved with the community like that. And he's a very community oriented individual. So I'm certain that he will return. I just don't know that obviously it'll be there, but I don't think this is going to stop him. But I think that it is problematic on many different levels. First of all, the lack of respect. And it's not uh, the lack of respect. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, Chef. I was saying that he sounds, other reports might say he's 6'5" and 245, but nonetheless, he's a big guy. And he could have seriously done some damage if he did not, kept his cool because you know how they like to paint and read the same thing and basically agree that, yeah, this was wrong. But, the media will spin it like, oh, well, he broke, he was just slapping him around, like you say, Chef, like rag dolls or something. Well, he's a big guy. You got four people trying to jump him. What do you want him to do? Hey, J Truth, how are you? So, you just can't say that. Well, you can. You can say anything you want. But first, it's the level of disrespect. And we're seeing it, too much of it, in the Black community. And that starts at home. It's going out, in and out. Okay, I'm going to make this quick then, Vibrant Low. I'm not going to talk as much. I don't know what's going on. My laptop may be telling me it's time, so I may be buying a new laptop real soon. Okay, but I'm just saying that otherwise, I just think there's a complete lack of disrespect. Oh, it's going okay, J Truth. It's okay. Um, they're in the Black community, and that begins at home. That begins at home. And I don't want to reference anything else that's going on and other sectors. Yeah, I'm trying to get a little bit comfortable, J Truth. It takes some time. But what are we teaching our young people? And I don't know that these individuals were teenagers. Some of them may have been in their early 20s. But the bottom line is, what are we teaching them? This culture of disrespect has simply got to stop. And it's not just with one generation, it's with multiple generations. And it just does not bode well for the Black community. If you look at sports and kind of go back to the 60s with Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, yes, things have significantly changed. Jim Brown, things have significantly changed. But, for a lot of young Black children, athletes are still role models, especially if they don't have good role models around them. And so they look up to these individuals, and individuals want to give back to the community. But how do you give back to a increasing number of disrespect, just outright disrespect? You see what's happening in the community. And I said it starts at home, because it does. You have parents who, not necessarily because of their age, they're too young to model the behavior. And I wouldn't all age related, I would say that it's lack of respect for self. If you don't respect yourself, how are you going to respect anybody else? And how are you going to teach young people how to respect themselves and each other? You have somebody trying to do something good um, for the community. And that's exactly right, just Andrea. You said it, and I didn't want to come out and say it, but the Black athlete does not owe the Black community anything. And when they do give back to the Black community, sometimes people are very disrespectful to them. So that makes my point that this is why some people would say, I don't want to, if you grew up in a certain environment, right, and you are able to get out of that environment through education, sports, a combination of things, some people close the door and say, okay, I'm done with that. I just don't want to go back into that because it seems to bring all kinds of haters out who don't want to see you see the community do better. They don't want better for themselves. So they are jealous hearted a lot of times of these athletes who give up their time when they don't have to, their money when they don't have to. Anybody who gives up their time and money um, goes back into the community to be helpful, and they're disrespected like that. It gives them an opening, if you will. An opening to say, look, I've been disrespected entirely too much. I'm not going to be bothered with us collectively anymore. This is it. I'm done with that world. And I wonder if you could then say, but people do. It's the internet and social media and so forth. And people will say, oh, this person doesn't give back. Look, even LeBron James gets criticized heavily, and he gives back tremendously to the community of Akron, Ohio. Scholarships started the school and everything else. But nonetheless, it makes people not want to do anything because you're just too disrespectful. And if the household doesn't revolve around respect once outside, it will never ever occur. I agree, Vibrant Law. It starts at home. So if you are part of a particular element where you're used to using your hands instead of your mind, you said it the other day, Vibrant Law, conflict resolution. He did, Young. He did. You're used to using your hands and your mouth instead of your mind, and to sit down and figure out a solution, because it's harder to sit down and figure out a solution, isn't it? It's easier to just put your hands on somebody. But as we know these days, more than ever, putting your hands on somebody can yield a very deadly result. Right. I agree with you, Vibrant Low. On a very tiny scale, nowhere near any athlete or person who is significantly important in the culture at large, I've tried to help, but I had to pull back too, because peace of mind is everything. And if you need that ultimately, and having money certainly helps. But if you're trying to help people who, and I don't want to put it on the kids because it's not their fault. They want Cam Newton in the community. They want to be interact with him and do things. They want to learn the ins and outs of football. And just think, he could bring in so many other people. He's got a wide podcast here. So he has a large audience, and he could bring in so many people from all different aspects. But my friend would say this, and he has said this over and over again, in terms of the Black community, we're the cause of our own destruction. That's maybe an inflammatory remark to make. But this kind of behavior, he said that was the kids fighting with him noon. That was grown black men and fighting with him. Okay, so those were men and not 14, 15-year-olds fighting with him. Yeah, it does. It benefits all kinds of communities. But then you ask yourself, okay, and I'm just going to go there, and maybe somebody wants to come up and challenge me, or you don't have to challenge me. You can just give your viewpoint or whatever the case might be. Okay, yes, I've thought as much, just Andrea, rather than working somewhere. These were grown black men who apparently didn't have anything better to do than to jump him. They're lucky it was him and not somebody else. I don't know if anybody remembers Malice in the Palace. This is all the way back, 2004. What happened with Detroit, the Pistons, and Indiana at that? Yeah, it definitely was a Malice in the Palace with the fans getting involved and throwing things, and it just really got out of hand. If you get a chance, take an opportunity to go back and look at that particular video. Hey, Ronnie Q, hope you're doing well. Yeah, when people say skin folk aren't always kinfolk, I feel as though they try and make people go along to get along. And I can't always agree with someone just because we're the same color. And we're on the same page, Vibrant Low. I just with just Andrea here, I don't think Black athletes or anybody owes the Black community anything. If they want to come back and give, then you need to be respectful of that and show that you're gracious and willing. But you have, unfortunately, a situation where some, just going to say it, dusty beta men who need to get a job and go to work and do something with their lives are hanging around and just waiting for an opportunity like this to exploit. And then what happens to the children if he decides that he's not going to come back? What happens then? They're hurting the kids ultimately. And maybe that's why my friend always said, and I agree with him, Black people are the cause of their own self-destruction. Really, if we look at it, I agree, J Truth. The politicians are a different thing. They're different. We elect them for a reason. And when they're not coming through, that's a problem. But I mean, what can you say? Videos there on Instagram. I don't think Cam Newton has come out with the public comment on this. I don't know if he will. He probably wants it to die quickly and probably just has moved on. But I said I was going to go there, and I am. Do you think something like this would happen with the Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Tom Brady? I did go there. Yeah. I agree. You should never look to celebrities for liberation. I agree. But celebrities are in a unique space. You're right, Ronnie Q. Nope. Would never. So when you know better, you do better. That's supposed to be the motto. One of them anyway, but that doesn't seem to be the case, does it? I mean, this whole Fight Club, I'm just going to put my hands on you and get my 15 seconds of fame. At the end of the day, what does that mean? Then you go back to being what you were before, irrelevant. Yes, the communities lack resources, and I think celebrities they're a resource, J Truth. If they're willing to give their time and money, that's a resource. They have more of a voice than you and I. Um, I agree. All right, I have a lot of family members who are teachers, and some of them retired, and the younger ones started teaching, but 5 years later, they're out. Are you alienating ourselves from helping ourselves, Chef? That's a very good question. Do you want to come up and talk about that? No, it wouldn't happen with the Mannings. And yes, the blame is squarely at the foot of the parents. Sometimes, as a parent, you can do everything right, and your child will grow up, they have their own mind, and they will get into trouble and do things, okay? But most of the time, if you have the resources in place, and this is another thing to think about too, we're using the lack of money as an excuse. That's controversial, I know, in some ways. Stay with me for a minute. How many of us have elders who grew up with nothing? They couldn't go to college because there wasn't any money, and times were so tough that they were tearing down houses, abandoned houses in the neighborhood, wood to warm. Those are the stories I hear from my elders. And they didn't grow up with anything. And yet, respect, respect, respect. You respected the teachers. First of all, you respected your parents. You respected your neighbors, your family members. You see where I'm going with this. So at some point, things changed. The 70s, maybe. Yeah, I think that would be a good place to start. At some point, they changed in our community. Okay. And suddenly you have generations at this point of individuals who don't respect other people and they don't respect themselves. And this is how they behave. Unfortunately, they procreate and they raise babies' kids. But again, this wasn't young people in their teens who had the unmitigated audacity to try to jump Newton. These were men who should have been working, right? They should have been doing something. And yeah, I get the trash talk. You do that on the court. You do that, I guess, on the field. People trash talk. That's the nature of sports. But has that gone too far? Now where you have fans thinking it's okay to call people the B word, right? To an athlete, I would never think to call anybody that unless you make me go there, but certainly not to somebody who's famous anyway. So Ronnie Q says too many kids are left to figure it out on their own. Yeah, they are. And they can't figure it out on their own. They need adults, but adults need to be the model. Okay. Adults need to be the model. What does this, at the end of the day, what does it prove? And, I'm going to drop the link here if anybody wants to come up and give their, opinion and so forth. But at the end of the day, what are you trying to prove? What are you trying to prove? There's trash talking about the game, right? And yeah, this is I'm going to do, and so forth. And we know Muhammad Ali was famous for the trash talking. Yes, J Truth. That's it. Tired of lazy, selfish, and whiny adults with a huge sense of entitlement. And then those adults have children who grow up thinking the world owes them. Okay. If words reduce you to physical violence, then you need work. You do. But isn't it, like I said earlier, vibrant law, conflict resolution? That's It's hard to get two people who are at odds to sit down and talk it out, right? Easier to use your fist. For some people, that's the thinking, because it's like discipline your child without the whippings or the spankings, right? If you take the approach of, okay, I'm not going to spank my child, then it requires that you be creative and come up with ways to indicate to your child that what he or she did was inappropriate and it should not happen again. Okay. And to be honest with you, working, um, there are lots of reasons why people just don't, it's easier for them to pick up the belt and say, okay, I'm just going to smack you because I told you not to do this. You've been working two or three, maybe you work two or three jobs, and times are really, really hard for a whole lot of people. It is. And that's been one of the complaints that my relatives have, Jay Truth, is that you can't get the parents involved. When you go to the PTA meetings, there are very few parents that are attending the PTA meetings. Remember those PTA meetings where your mom and dad, or mom or dad or somebody would show up and indicated that they cared enough to show up and listen to the teacher and go over your grades and so forth? Okay, so you think that Newton wasn't acting his age? Newton is 34 years old. And yes, he does have a history of trash talking. Yeah, yes. But that's on the field. There's a big difference between, and he is flamboyant in his presentation. And I remember when the Panthers lost to the Broncos, and people were saying that, trying to paint him as an angry black man, essentially, because that's what we're always reduced to: angry black woman or angry black man. When you just don't have much to say. Sometimes you just don't feel like talking to the media, even though contractually it's part of your job. You don't feel like talking to the media after a loss, or maybe even a win. Okay, just Andrea, I'm gonna let you up. Take a minute. Okay.
Can you hear
Hey,
me?
yes,
How
I
you
can
doing?
hear you. Yes.
Okay,
How are you?
how are you doing today? And I shared this video out because I thought this would be a great conversation to have because I love Cam Newton. Okay, I've been watching him since he was in college. My thing is this:
Yeah,
when I
me.
watched the video, when I first watched the video, I thought it was young boys who was fighting with him, and now I have learned them are black men who was fighting with him, grown men who was his ex football coaches, used to coach with his team. And they went there to fight with him.
Right.
My brothers, I have four brothers. I have a guy who owns a barbershop, and every Saturday when I take my son to get his haircut, they're all in there talking trash to each other. That's what they do. So
Mhm.
it ain't nothing that to me that Cam Newton. My thing is this: they all have a team. Cam Newton's not coaching on their team. He's coaching a new team, and at the point is they all gonna bet a wager who got the best team. Of course, Cam Newton gonna feel like he got the best team. He the
Right.
star.
Absolutely.
So I'm
Absolutely.
saying, so you're jealous, and you're trying to fight this man. And be grateful. Cam Newton is a big man and is in good shape. He did not throw a punch to nobody, and he had a right to defend himself, but he didn't because he knew the optics of the video because they will be saying it's Cam Newton's fault. So he didn't
Exactly.
throw a punch. They pulled his dreads. He didn't throw a punch. He didn't hit nobody. Somebody tried to sucker punch him in the video. And
Hmm.
this is where I have a problem with the black community because the black athlete don't owe them nothing. Be grateful if the black athlete want to give back. Because to me, to be honest, I'm kind of like this. If my son played football and he made millions of dollars, we gonna move to Arizona in our mansion and we ain't giving back. How about that? Because I have seen the black children are being disrespectful to the black athlete. And some of these fans are disrespectful. They come up to the athlete, tell them how they feel. They're doing their job. They get paid to play basketball.
Right.
And if
Right.
Cam Newton, I have watched his videos. I have watched him give back to the black community in Atlanta and other places. And for him have to be suffered, have to go and somebody come and try to sucker punch him, try to pull his hat off, pull his dreads
Yeah.
is disrespectful. Because
Invading his personal
he didn't
space
have to do that.
also.
He has 7 kids. Okay, he has 7 kids, and he didn't have to do that. He's choosing to give back to the community. And the black community need to teach their men and their children how to be respectful. Because at the end of the day, if you got black men who think they can go bum rush a star and yet and still, we want to teach our black men how to control our anger, how to talk with our words, not hit with our hands. What are we teaching them? It's okay to go punch Cam Newton.
All for what?
All for what? Because he's talking trash to him.
And these are kids he's trying to teach.
Yes. And at the end of the day, all the kids suffer because they kicked everybody. They kicked everybody who was involved in the fight out the celebrity thing, after the football game. They kicked Cam Newton and everybody else who was fighting with him.
Right.
So the kids suffered. They spent their whole Saturday trying to see Cam Newton and want to be structured by Cam Newton, and they didn't get the opportunity because grown black men are fighting with each other, can't even use their words. If they felt like Cam Newton was being disrespectful, use your words and tell him that. Hey, man, I don't like that. I don't appreciate that.
But and I don't want to make excuses, but he's always talked trash. And
yes, that ain't nothing new. If you go back to his videos from when he was in Auburn, when you go back to his videos when he played for the North Carolina Panthers, he always talked trash. He's always saying he the best.
Right. And to be honest with you, just Andrea, there's a way to instill that in young people and tell them that they are good without them growing up to be arrogant.
Right.
What are they supposed to think? That they're not good enough?
Right. And you have to, and to me, you have to have that. You have to have that bravado to give yourself that that edge.
Right.
If you look at Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, they said he was an asshole because he was giving himself that edge to go out there on that court and perform at the best of his ability.
Michael Jordan was a huge shit talker and didn't hide it. He loved the game. He was passionate about it. But in the locker room, he would really dress down and disrespect his teammates.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but there's much love for Jordan. He, the basketball player, not so much for Jordan, the team leader that he could have been.
Right.
Because he just would dress them down in such a way. These are your teammates. You want to uplift. Constructive criticism is better received than criticism about, you didn't get the ball right, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. It takes a team to win a championship.
Exactly.
And you've got to have the players around you who want to win. And thankfully he had that, because without those players, he wouldn't have won all those championships.
Right.
It's a team effort. So, but
and
I think
it's sad that our community are just out there acting a fool. And you didn't see Cam Newton throw a punch, and you did not see him only defend himself. You did not see him throw a punch. You did not see him hurt anybody, and he could. He has power and strength in his body, and he could, but he didn't, because he knew the cameras was rolling, and he knew the optics, and he knew it would be bad on him.
And he knew he would be painted as a angry black man.
Right.
See, we told you, Cam Newton. Remember, you know the Super Bowl where he was clearly frustrated. He didn't want to talk. Um,
Right.
he's a competitor at the end of
Hmm.
the day and used to winning, and loss is tough. We know in sports that you can't win all the time.
Right.
But, the people were already saying, "Oh, you're a poor sport. You lost to Manning and company, and you're out here pouting and angry." And he just did not have much to say. I remember that press conference
Me too. Me too.
because, like you, I've been following Newton since Auburn days. Exactly, Strictly Platinum, and that's who Cam Newton is. That's who he was in college.
Now, my
Um,
question, I was asking my friend Chef Chapino. I was asking my co-host. I told him, would they do that to Aaron Rodgers? Would they do it to Tom Brady? No, this would not happen.
you see, right,
This would
right.
not. This would even get. They would even get that close to Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
And that was my point earlier. If it had
They
been
wouldn't
one of the
even. You wouldn't
Mannings,
even. You wouldn't even
Brady,
allow. You aren't gonna be allowed to get in their face, and they're gonna have security. I'm just saying.
exactly.
It's a thin line, but like I know Cam did have his security there, but at the same time, is he still want to be approachable for the players and stuff. But this wouldn't happen to Aaron Rodgers. This never happened to Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. This would not happen to them, but it happened
This,
to our black athletes.
and
And
continue
our own people are doing it to them.
at own people. And I wonder if the thing about it too. You don't know who Aaron Rodgers is?
Aaron
He
Rodgers is a football player. He played for the New York Jets.
Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, hey, Chef, how you doing?
Hello, hello,
I
hello.
think
Can you hear
is trolling here. He knows who Aaron Rodgers is.
me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, thank you. I'm a invited guest of Andrea. She's my illustrious, ubiquitous co-host, and I like the topic that you guys are talking about. And particularly, I do respect the approach in terms of how you're looking at this whole situation. You know, a lot of it is not just about bravado, machismo, and all of those things that are testosterone based, reactions, right? Some of it has to be based in the way that we as men, as black men, see ourselves. And I speak to other cultures, not stating that what another culture is or does is better, but I
Hmm.
do mention other cultures because we do have to pick and choose and learn. Even somebody that we think is corny, they may be a certain outfit they put together that we say, damn, why didn't I think about that? It happens. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So, one thing within, say, the Asian cultures is that they specialize in understanding the elders, understanding the culture, understanding history in order to understand the way that you're going to strategize your future. And right now, they don't respect the OGs. And Cam is only 34 years old. I'm a 52-year-old man. Cam is 34 years old.
Hmm.
And every time you see, think about the other camp that you saw a couple of years back, where the young brothers were talking about him, and they were talking trash to him.
That's
It's
true.
it's signaling a new generation of folks that don't respect us. Partially, it has to do with the money, clothes, and hoes, you know, kind
Mm.
of era and culture. Where now, if you're not pushing a Bentley or Rolls Royce, if you don't have that bread, at this point, we don't have to listen to you. Because remember, this generation right now is one of the fastest generations to a million. So they've been able to figure out, even though they utilize technology, they've been able to figure out their fastest, quickest road to $1 million of becoming millionaires than we have. And it's true. So at some point now, the focus is on the end goal is the wealth. And they forget there's different roads to that goal. And each that one road is not for everyone. There's different roads to that goal, and you have to figure that road out. But what we do right now is just eliminate the OGs. We don't want to learn from, they talk about, a smart man learns from his mistakes, a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. We don't care, because if those others' mistakes, if they don't have $1 million, we don't care. So that's something that we have to fix within our, like Jordan Peterson stated, clean your own room. We have to figure that out within our community before we're able to be battle tested out there. But that's all I got.
Oh, I completely agree with you. Yes, Vibrant Law, Michael Jordan, and he wasn't actually the number one pick when he came out of college either. That went to Sam Bowie out of the University of Kentucky. So, Michael Jordan didn't start to come into his own until he was in the league for a few years. But I completely agree with what you're saying, Chef. I know the breakdown. I think it started in the 70s. And unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this, but I think desegregation has a lot to do with it. Earlier, I was talking about elders and respect. And when my dad was growing up, everybody in the community, he said, was Poe. Okay. And so you helped each other, though. You helped each other. And what you didn't do, especially as a kid, you did not disrespect the adults. Now, the adults might have been wrong as two left pair of shoes, right? Because adults don't know everything, but you didn't disrespect the adults. So it started in the 70s, and it's just continued to this point where now you have a complete it's disrespect about why should we care about these celebrities. And I think we should care because they have a bigger voice than me, than you, than just Andrea. If they have the resources and time and they're willing to put the effort in to the Black community, then we should be thankful for that, especially knowing that a lot of young people don't have role models. Cam Newton might be the only person that has shown an interest in the next Cam Newton.
Exactly.
We don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what it made me upset when I found out them not young men fighting him. There was black grown men, and I'm like, okay, so what are
Mhm.
y'all showing the children out there who's looking to talk to Cam Newton, get some pointers from him? Y'all are fighting with this man.
Right. Right. Do you think part of it is because it's Cam Newton and he's very flamboyant? Okay.
And that is the thing is that Cam haven't changed. Money, and opportunity and success. Still, Cam still haven't. When he was in college and broke, he was still that had bravado. The only thing different
You're right
is
about
he
that.
has the he
Yep.
has the bravado now, and he could talk trash. But let me tell you something: it's people who's
Right.
broke and still talk trash.
It's about. I don't think
Yeah.
it's
And
about
don't do anything
talk.
for the community.
You hear me? I don't. I honestly, I had hit
Yeah.
the wrong button a second ago, but yeah, honestly, I say it's not so much about
Okay.
the talking of trash. One of the things that we notice the folks of the other community, one thing that they focus on is the First Amendment.
Mhm.
You'll see a bunch of YouTube videos where you have First Amendment auditors, and they talk about freedom of speech, and they speak to the rights
Mhm.
that we have under the Constitution. One thing I do believe is we as a people, we as melanated people, have a tendency to, you know, agree with censorship. We'll pop somebody in the mouth because we didn't like what they said, even though it's their right to say it. That's a piece of our community.
Mhm.
And what happens is the reactions that we generate by virtue of the words that we hear, that's what happens. And we don't have a thick cultural skin. Some would argue it's based on 400 years of oppression and all of that. I'm not going to go into it, but I will state that we
Right.
as a people have to generate a thicker skin, especially when it comes to us holding our own selves accountable for growth.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you there. It's easier, to when somebody's popping off to use the fist. If that is how you grew up using your fist, right? Instead of true conflict resolution, then you're constantly going to be battling somebody, scared to hear a different opinion. That's true. We're not we're not monolithic. We can have different opinions on what's best for the community and still come together as a community and raise respectful um, young people. We can do that. Hey, bench thinker. But, you know, as just Andrea said, if we're talking about Rogers and Manning, this wouldn't happen. It's just different. And I just wondered, too, if let's say it was Jalen Hurt. I think that is, Chef, you may have to help me with that. That's the quarterback for the Eagles, right?
Yes, Jalen
He's
Hurts
the
the
Yes,
quarterback
quarterback?
for the
still it
Eagles.
hurts.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, sorry, just Andrea, you watch football too.
Oh,
Okay.
Dre is a beast in this football game.
Oh, no. Okay. So, is it presentation? If Jalen Hurt, or could it have been, and I guess what I'm trying to get at is, could it have been any um, athlete, black athlete in this tournament, football related, and the result would have been the same thing? Or do
Great
you think it was
question. I'll,
okay?
I'll say this.
Go
I
ahead.
would say, I would say no. Right. So what's funny is you see. Oh, excuse me. You see his gold record plaque behind me. I've been, I came up in the music industry. I started in the industry. One of my best friends, we were in the same rap crew. So I've been worked on a lot of major projects. Right. One thing I will say to you is this: rappers know, people that make it from the hood know, the people that will hurt you the most will be the people that come from where you come from.
Exactly.
When the world is talking about, oh, Kenna H, oh man, she is the greatest, she's the best journalist, she's the best content creator, and then you're gonna have a few haters from back in your hood that's gonna be like, oh please, I remember when Kenna used to get drunk and take a piss in the sink. Okay, that's what they do. That's what happens. A lot of people have a tendency to get, unalived once they make it in their own hood. In their own hood. We do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. So I do believe 100% the fact that the proximity of Cam coming from Atlanta, and him having some notoriety within the group of people that was there, that was going to add to it. That was
Right.
going to add to it. It happens naturally. We do it to ourselves. You
Mhm.
know, the crabs that make it out of the barrel, God forbid they fall back into the barrel. It's going to be a feast.
And
You're absolutely right about that.
do I think
Yes.
Jalen Hurts ain't got that swag like Cam Newton got? Okay, and yes, he have a Super Bowl
You're
ring,
right.
but he ain't that kind of player.
But
He
it's
don't
not
got that
about
bravado.
swagging.
He
So
ain't
see,
got
we
that swag.
Kenna, don't did it. Andrea and I, part of what we do is we argue with each other, right? It's
Okay.
not about swag, Jay. It's not about swag in this situation. It's about him being from there. It could have
Right.
been any other quarterback. You get me? The
Hmm.
thing is, he's from Atlanta. He's from Atlanta,
Right.
and people have a tendency to be like, "Yeah, I know that ninja. Yeah, he's such and such and such. Oh yeah, he came up from the West Side." And you get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Jalen
understand.
Hurts, it would have been a different dynamic. Once it would have been anybody that was away from that particular proximity, you know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because Kobe Bryant used to talk. We know how much ish he used to talk, right?
For real.
And a lot of people didn't like him either.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but he was backing it up. So, do you think this will put a damper in? I don't think it will. I think that Newton, for better or for worse, it'll make him more determined to come back into the community. Uh, but I also think that going forward, you know, people don't need much of an excuse. And when you give them a stick to beat you with, and they give you a concussion, because this is essentially what happens, you can't get mad at the next person for saying, look, let me get my million. Like just Andrea said, if I had a son who made it like that, um, we would be out of this country probably.
And
I'm just going
you
to keep.
a prime example who was giving back to his community and he got killed in his community. His name is Dolph in Memphis. So he's a prime example as a
Yeah.
rapper who was giving
Yep.
back to his community and he
Young
died
dog.
in his community. Young Dolph.
And
So I mean,
Nipsey Hussle.
and Nipsey Hussle, prime example. I forgot about Nipsey. I'm in Sacramento. What the hell? But yeah, Nipsey Hussle, prime example.
Yeah.
I do think celebrities are going to always have an impact on our young people. They look up to them. And do I think we should look up to our parents? Yes, I hope my kids look up to me. But at the
Yeah.
same time, they're going to always have their sport figures that they love.
Yeah, but what it is I believe one of the things is let's use the term instead of celebrities is let's use the term idols, right?
Idols.
There's
Okay.
certain people, and I don't mean false idols, but when I speak to idols, I'm speaking about those people within the hood that we look up to. There's some kids that looked up to the guys that were always driving the nicest cars, you know,
Hmm.
but then there's other heroes that should be idols: the doctors, the dentists, the accountants, the hardworking electricians, the blue collar workers that actually make more money than some of the hustlers in their neighborhood, but they do it quietly.
Hmm.
What it is the people that we lift to, the people that we pedestalize, right? That
Right.
we put on a particular pedestal. Those are the
Right.
people that tend to drive the culture because those are the statues, if you will, that we put out there, the landmarks of what the kids should aspire to. And what happens is now, you know, who do we have? Who do we have for our kids? We had Future. He taught a whole generation how to drink lean, and he didn't even drink it. You have who do we have? Sexy Red. Jeez. Okay. I we who do we have? The thing is, it's who we choose and what we see is what's popular within our culture. It's what we drive to. It's the culture is not just what we, consume. It's the things that we rebuke as well. It's a whole yin and yang. It's a whole counterculture. It's a whole ecosystem of what we take in and what we reject. And that's what builds a culture. Right now, I just feel as though what we consider culture is somehow askew. And some of it has to do with the outside, but I'm not going to just continue to blame the outside. What I'm going to do is also, you know, blame our inner infrastructure
Right.
for our current demise.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you a funny story. My mom, Andrea knows, my mom is on that 9-month Ultimate World Cruise. you
Oh,
know, and yeah, and she literally just hit me through WhatsApp. So, I got to give Mama holler. She's calling me again right now.
okay.
So I want to say peace, love, and light, Kenna H. Great topic. I love your perspectives. Andrea, thank you for inviting me. And,
Thank you for
you
coming.
guys are welcome to my channel whenever. Your family now. Holla.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
You. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Awesome, just Andrea. I haven't seen him in, hey, Ronnie Q. I haven't seen him in
Hey,
different chats, but I love his perspective on things. I can see why he's your co-host.
Okay, okay, yes, but yes.
I just
Hey,
wanted to touch on the thing that he was saying about how culture drives a lot of things that goes on in our society, what our uh, the younger people look up to, and I think that it's very important to note that our natural culture is no longer coming from us from within. Our culture is has been uh, hijacked by other people, other sources who have seen us pull ourselves up, and now they're figuring out a way how to make money off of our backs. If we look at the music industry, just for instance, they used to develop artists, they used to work with artists and all that. Now they just pump and dump them, pump and dump them, pump and dump them. And most of the managers, the producers, a lot of the producers now aren't even people of our race. So we have to look at like actors and the whole Hollywood type of thing. If we're going to talk about Hollywood, it is not even a genuine culture of us as a people, in my opinion.
I agree. Hollywood is entertainers. They're so it's la la land, right? Nothing is true there, and to a certain degree, I think you can find that in sports too. In terms of it, it's seems like it's so foreign. By that I mean so hard to obtain. I mean, think about it. To be a Cam Newton and win a Heisman, that's the ultimate prize for college football, and then to go on, to an NFL career. That is the average NFL career is 3 to 5 years if you are lucky
Right.
to make
exactly.
it. So I understand what J Truth is saying in terms of wanting to or youngsters to idolize teachers. I so love that. I
Right.
was doctors or the
Engineer
janitors, the people.
engineers.
Right.
We have so many smart people who idolize these little low hanging fruit type of things, and we have brilliant people, brilliant minds that are not tapped into in our culture. So it's like really sad. It really does them a disservice, and for people to think that we are not intelligent enough to make strides in these different arenas. And another thing is, like, even with sports, for instance, you'll have different schools come cherry pick different good players out of their neighborhoods,
Mhm.
bust them to different schools in different neighborhoods so they can have a winning team. And if people took as much interest in developing minds to be that great, you know, you know, uh, only a few students are going to get these opportunities. So it's like our whole structure is really failing us, because our kids should be able to strive and get the same type of education in their own neighborhoods. And that's where it's going to take more people putting in to us as a whole,
Mhm.
parents putting into their children as a whole, teachers, mentors, and things, because we just can't say, oh, well, little Johnny made it, like, we can't have these anomalies all over the place and think that we're striving. You get my
But
point?
I do think it starts at home because my mama and daddy didn't say, "Oh, we're gonna be a rapper. We're gonna be a football player." They was teaching us how to have our own business. They was teaching us how to. My dad, my brother, how to do carpet. So I think it starts at home. Like you could be all you can be, but you don't have to be. No, you could be a doctor, lawyer, a journeyman. It's not be a rapper and not be a basketball player or football player. I think it starts at home. My kids play sports. They play sports because I want them to have an activity. But my son is a straight A student because he gonna go to somebody college and be an engineer. That's what he
Right.
gonna do. Okay,
Right.
I mean he plays sports because I don't want him to in here being on the computer or the video games and get fat. So he plays sports because that's why I want to keep his weight right, and he playing with boys his own age. But he not looking at Kobe Bryant and LeBron James because he want to be like them. No, he watches because he likes sports. But I want him to be an engineer, and so he's a straight A student. And I think it starts at home, and not saying you could be a rapper. There's a doctor, lawyers around here. You could own your own business. You could do other things than and make that money just like the rappers are making. Make that money with the sports is making. But you got to teach the kids that. If they don't see that, or they
I
think
guess
it's only sports is the only way out of the hood, that's a problem too.
I agree.
Yeah, that's
I,
the big problem. That is the big problem. And like the guy was saying, I forgot his name who was just up here. You have,
Yeah, his name
I
is Chef.
always say this, chef. You have so many jobs, so many careers, like licensed electricians, plumbers, these jobs that make decent wages. Everybody is not a college student material. Let's get that clear. That doesn't mean that they cannot live a functional life and have things and build a decent life and make decent money. But we like kind of throw these kids to the sides like, oh well, they're not going to make it in life, they're not going to be able to go to a state college or any type of college. We throw too many people to the side, in my opinion. So I agree with what you guys are saying. And that segregation thing, that was a big thing. That was a big factor when we stopped spending money with ourselves, and we start taking our money out away from ourselves, out of our own neighborhoods. And some people look at it as a blessing, and you really have to look at how it really hurt us as a people as well. That's always been my viewpoint.
I agree. And that was the beginning of the brain drain,
Hmm.
right? Because before, when you had segregation, you had the doctors, the teachers, the lawyers, dentists, librarians. They all lived in the same neighborhood with, you know, people like my dad's family who didn't have much at all. Um, but they all lived in the same neighborhood.
Right.
So, uh, so I agree that it starts. Hey, Jills, it does start at home. It's what you are teaching your children. It's okay for them to watch and be part of. I would want my children to be part of soccer or whatever activity, right? Because I don't want them spending time on the internet. I just don't want that. But at the end of the day, you're going to college because that's what my parents stressed to me. They were not able financially. They came from big families and in the South, and so they weren't able to go to college. My dad is a Vietnam veteran. He was drafted. So this is, they stressed education
And
in addition to the
some of these children
extracurriculars.
are disrespecting the teachers now. Teachers used to be a high regard. You didn't go to school to disrespect your teacher. This new generation, they get in front of the teacher and tell her that you can't tell me what to do. She take their phone, they want to fight her. Back in the day, we could never thought it was okay to put our hands on our teacher.
But the
Yeah,
parents are disrespecting the teachers as well. The parents are coming up to the school
Yes.
acting a fool as well. I'm gonna step down. I feel like I said this many times before, but I like this conversation. I shared you out as well. I'll be in the chat.
okay. Yeah, it's the just a lack of respect
Hmm.
in general, and
Hmm.
I don't want to put it. You can't put it on the children because you have to mirror what you want your children to be. Okay,
Yes.
if you are trifling, then chances are your children are going to be trifling.
Exactly.
So, but then it becomes a bigger problem because now you have a lot of babies, kids running around
Having
here
babies.
having babies, and they're in their early 20s, wanting to go and jump on athletes, who are there to help the community. And they want to showboat and do all of this stuff. But, what happened to you don't have to go to college, but you have to get a trade. You have to learn something.
And that's what I'm saying. My four brothers, my dad showed them how to do carpet, and they have their own business. My son tore his ACL his junior year in high school, his junior year, and he was like, "Mom, I don't think football is gonna be in my cards." So what he did was he started learning his daddy business, and now he works for his dad. And when his dad get older, he gonna transition and be the boss of the business. But he started learning his dad business because he was like, I tore my ACL, mama. That was good, and football ain't in my cards. But
Oh,
I'm just saying, he thought about doing something else now.
hey, choreo lover. But that's just it. You can aspire to go to the NFL or the NBA or to be the next Serena Williams, whatever the case might be. However, we need a backup plan.
Right.
If that is not a 4-year school, then a 2-year school, because we need a new generation of plumbers, electricians. They make a lot of money.
Yes,
Look
they
how much
do.
they charge for coming out. I don't know what the rates are in California, but
I paid a plumber to come and unclog my sinks and toilet, and that was $400.
Yep.
Okay, and I had to pay him that $400. I'm saying, that was $400. And my girlfriend said she just called a plumber and he charged her $400.
Okay, well, that's interesting because I live on the East Coast, in the South, and the rates were the same for some work I had done, plumbing work I had done. Like, okay, and so I told the plumber in a joking way, I didn't go to an Ivy League college. I'm not trying to send your child to an Ivy League college,
Exactly.
Going to an Ivy League, unless they get a full ride, they wouldn't be going to an Ivy League college either. So, but what they charge, and I had a refrigerator problem. The guy was out here all of 10 minutes, and it was $300. I was so pissed, just under it.
Mine was $400. My girlfriend said, "Dre, I just called a plumber." She said, "Girl, it was $400." I said, "I know. Why are they charging so much out here?"
I know, because they know that you need it. And I was just so pissed that I said, he didn't spend but 15, he spent all of 15 minutes in my house.
I locked my keys in my house, and I had to call a locksmith, and he charged me $200.
Yes. So,
and I did it 2 times in a row. My kid was like, "Mama, are you serious?"
Oh, wow. Yeah, and electricians are very expensive too. And there's nothing wrong with trade work,
right?
Because you will always need an electrician, a plumber,
and you will always need, I might tell my son, you will always need somebody who want to put carpet and vinyl and hardwood floors in their house.
Yes, I wish I lived in California now, because I'd be calling your son to see how much he charged to finish my hardwood off.
Yes, and so them are good trades, and he's learning the family business, generational wealth. And so I'm really happy that he decided he didn't want to do it, but he was like, "Mom, Dad has showed me that generational wealth. This is going to be his when something happens to him. We pass it on to you." And and he learned it now. He'll be 25 in like 3 weeks, and he's learned the trade.
But that's how other ethnic groups prosper.
Right.
In addition to other things, but one of the ways is that they train one of their children to go to take over the family business.
Right.
so somebody in the family is always going to own the business.
Right.
And that is how you build generational wealth. And make no mistake about it, we are 400 years behind. Politicians have a lot to do with it, slavery, and just all kinds of things. We have some serious catching up to do. But at the end of the day, the internet, especially when you go on Instagram and Twitter, I don't go on the social media apps because they make the swag sexy, and that's all young people see, and so they think, oh well, this is the swag.
I would say them are smoke and mirrors. And I do tell my kids that you might see people on the Instagram looking happy, but them are smoke and mirrors. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And so even though I was on social media, I always see my daddy went to work every morning. My mother
Right.
was a stay-home mom, but she had a daycare business, and she taught me and my sister. We used to work for some doctors and lawyers, and when we got like 15 or 16, we started babysitting their children when they want to go out on a date. So my mom showed us how to have a business and stuff. And so I'm just saying, you ain't always got to be a rapper. You could be a plumber, electrician. They're good, hardworking jobs. And so,
Right.
as long as you earning some decent money to take care of yourself and be self-sufficient and self-sustained, that's fine. You ain't don't I'm just saying, I tell my son, I just don't want you to be in nobody's prison. And he about to be 25 in 3 weeks, and he ain't been in nobody's prison.
Knock on wood. And he's so blessed to have parents who really care. Not some, as we know, with a lot of young people, they don't always have that really supportive environment that they need, which is why they look up to um, rappers and athletes and so forth. I get what Charles Barkley was saying years ago about being a role model, but sometimes if you're in a terrible situation as a child and you're looking to get out of that situation, and you see somebody like Cam Newton, or I keep bringing it back to him, but nonetheless, if you see somebody making it, who makes it, then that's what you believe.
But if you know Cam Newton's story, Cam Newton had a strong father behind him and a mother
He
who's
did.
in that house. So Cecil
Absolutely.
was a strong figure in that house. So Cam Newton come from structure, a father, a mother, and that wouldn't let him steer when he steered off the path or the wrong path, they were still behind him. So I'm saying, if you're gonna look at Cam Newton, look at the where he come from, a two-parent home.
He sure does. He sure does.
And
And
that was that strong black figure in his house was his father.
it's absolutely, you're absolutely right about that.
So
Looks like
that's what, and that even when my son, he turned 10 years old, I sent him to live with his father because I didn't want my son to go on the wrong path. I wanted to make sure that he had a strong figure in his father. So sometimes mothers got to make that hard decision. I mean, I love my son. The day he
right.
moved out, I cried. But
Oh,
looking at him now, that was the best decision I made for him.
oh, wow. That's very inspirational. It makes a difference.
Yes,
A
it makes a difference.
strong father figure makes a huge difference for little boys and little girls. Um,
Yes.
and I was growing up, I'd hear all the time. Some people would say, well, my mom is raising me. My dad's not part of my life. And, she's doing a very good job, and so forth. I don't need a dad. And I would think to myself, gosh, I would know what to do if I didn't have one.
Me too. And right now, my dad is my only living parent. And like, my dad is my hero. Do I love sports figures? Yes, but my daddy has always been my hero.
I agree. Mine too. He introduced me to all of this, the sports
Yes, my
when I
daddy
was
did
growing
too.
up.
Hmm.
So Jay Truth says my dad can build, paint, and fix cars. He's a vet, worked on the railroad, bakes barbecues, electricians, weld, and crochet. Oh wow! So yeah, I don't know. For me, it made a huge difference having a coming from a two-parent home. I know that is a luxury. Don't take it for granted, but having a strong father figure, even though my mother is strong,
Mhm.
it made a huge difference in my life. Because little girls need their dads too. They need
Yep.
them to be there to help guide them and give them
Yes.
structure.
My
Uh,
my daughter and my son think their daddy's their hero. Okay. My
mhm.
daughter goes to the gun range with her dad all the time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. They think their dad is the hero. He's Superman. He can't do no wrong. And that
I,
don't even it used to bother me, but it don't even bother me no more because I'm happy that they feel that way about their father.
I was going to ask you, as their mom, how do you feel about them feeling that
It used to bother me because I used to say because we divorced now. We've been
right?
divorced. We've been divorced both. We was married 6 years, about 15 years we've been divorced. But it used to bother me because I used to feel "Now, how the hell you get to be the hero? I got to be the disciplinary that live with me full time. You take them for the weekend, every other weekend on vacation and stuff. It used to bother me. But as I got older, that don't bother me no more. Because let me tell you something. They might think their daddy is their hero, but when something is going wrong in life, mama is the first person to call. And what I say is, if I can't figure it out, call your daddy.
And you are so right about that because, see, my mom was a disciplinarian, and she always says to me, "You are real close to your father." I said, "Oh, but make no mistake about it. When I get sick, who do I call? Even
Right,
at this age,
right,
knock on wood, she's still here. I call her. Uh,
right.
you know, whine about not being feeling well or whatever's going on, and
Hmm.
whatever might be the case. But um, you're right. A two-parent household is ideal. That's what I
Right,
think. But having two parents deeply involved, whether they are in the same household or not, makes all the
right.
difference in the world.
Because
They don't have to be in the same
um,
house.
my ex-husband, he lived 30 minutes away from us. He would drive every day to practice. He was one of their coaches. I had to tell him, I said, if you don't like somebody screaming at your son, then you need to get out here on the football field with him. And after I had that conversation, that day forward, he was out there every day. He would leave from Lodi in the afternoon and come to Sacramento.
Wow. And I know the traffic. Is that Southern California?
Yes,
Okay. Oh my gosh, the traffic. Uh,
yes.
I complain about this little bit of traffic here, but it's pretty bad. I've been to California several times, northern,
Yeah.
and no, I can't drive in California because
You gotta get used to it. I've been here since I was 14. You gotta get used to it.
no, they would cite me for driving too slow.
but but yeah, I think if the parent is not in the house, it's got to be a strong present that you still, even though you're not in the house, you still involved with the kids because
I
he
absolutely agree.
he was involved in co-parenting. Don't get me wrong, co-parenting was difficult at certain time because he had married somebody else, so it was difficult at certain time. But we made an adjustment and we try to get along for the kids' sake.
Always for the kids. The kids have to be number one.
Yeah,
They have to be the number one priority.
right.
Initially, when I heard this video about what happened, I thought it was teenagers, and I thought, oh no, teenagers didn't do this. I know they didn't do this.
Hmm.
Uh, and so when I went back again, no, you're right. It was the dusties in their 20s who are able to work but won't, just starting trouble.
Right,
Just
right.
starting trouble.
And this is where I say, you know, accountability. And this is what I tell my son. I tell my son, I said, let me tell you something. No woman is gonna want you if you ain't got a job, your own this, your own that. Because if you ain't, why do I need you? Okay, why do I need you if you ain't? If I got my own place, my own car, and I'm working, and you ain't working, you out here just doing hustling and stuff. You gonna end up in jail or the graveyard. And I told my son that. I told him that because my daddy told me that. And so, if you gotta be a productive citizen, and then sometimes as people and as women, we excuse some black men are not working. You make excuses for them, and all I know is a man is to protect and provide, and that's what I see my daddy and my four brothers do now.
But you see that kind of thinking,
Hmm.
because you and I think alike. People would call that old fashioned and very traditional and conservative. But
Still
I
is.
firmly believe, I believe that
Hmm.
I see too many young women who will accept anything
Right.
because they don't want to be alone. And see, what's lacking there is the foundation for self-esteem that should have been built
Yes.
in the first, right?
And this
They're
and
too
this why I tell my daughter this. I said, so if he ain't working and you working, and I'm confused. Like, what we doing? What we doing? And so when women say, oh, if you had one baby with the man and you know he wasn't working, you had three or four. That's on you.
right. I
Because
firmly
the first
disagree with
optic
that too.
is the first optic is the reason I know my ex-husband because I grew up with him. My daddy trained him, so I know how
Oh,
much money he makes. So when I
okay.
married him, I knew he could protect and provide for the family.
But you see, again, that kind of thinking, and we
It's
think
old
alike.
school ways.
It's old school, and a lot of
Yes.
people would accuse us of being too conservative.
Okay, well, call me conservative. Maybe I think the black community had got away from the church house because that was one of our stableness of going to the church house. I
Hmm.
think we got away from that. Call me conservative if you want to, but I think we got away from the going to church because my family went to church every Sunday, and my mama always say a family that prays together stays together.
I've heard that too. I've heard that too. But look at how some of the church so-called people in the church, how they conduct themselves now.
That's true too. I agree. We don't got a little commercial. I agree with all of that. But the hardcore of when I grew up as going, we went to church on Sunday. We did go to church Sunday as a family. That's the one time I seen my daddy put his Sunday best on was on Sunday, going to church as a family.
Hey, Castro, I agree. But when my mom didn't go to church, she would make sure I go to church.
Exactly.
I didn't like her for it either. But I appreciate it now. You see,
Hmm.
it's a different thing when you grow up and you see a lot of young people. I talk to a lot of young people,
Hmm.
and they don't have fathers in their lives. It's just a whole lot of missing elements, and I
Right.
feel so badly because but I can't. I have to step back because I can't absorb the problems that they have because of the choices that people in their life made.
Yes.
So I used to do mentoring and so forth, but I stepped back from doing that too because
Hmm.
that began to be exhausting,
Yes.
honestly.
I used to be a
And I
foster
said,
mom. I used to be a foster mom, and I retired this past July because I
oh,
retired. I retired from doing it for 25 years, and I retired because it was exhausting trying to love and care for kids that don't belong to me, but the parents are in the way, making havoc.
hmm hmm
And
and the
so,
parents let anybody else raise them.
yes, yes,
You know.
and I had a zero tolerance when it comes to my house about education. Education was the most important thing. We can't do no sports activities if them grades are not right. And I got a lot of
Absolutely.
pushback from my own people because they was like, well, so what? No, if your grades ain't right, you can't play.
If the grades are not right, you aren't doing anything but studying. And if I have to bring in a tutor, I'll pay for that.
Right,
But the grades have to be on point. You're not doing anything else until those grades are where they need to be.
right.
So I don't think you and I think we're in the same age group.
Yeah, I
But
just turned 49 in January.
yeah, we're in the same age group.
Yeah.
So I must say both of us look real good. I must have a little shade. We both look a
Okay.
lot better than some people who claim to be much younger than we are. or in our age group.
I feel like I'm taking good care of myself. I'm raising two more. I adopted two children from the
Oh,
foster care, so I'm raising two more kids. So I I gotta stay right. I gotta stay healthy for them. And so
exactly.
and so
Exactly.
so that's why I mean they keep me so busy. They keep me so busy with their sports activities.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I am very surprised that you are but I shouldn't be because I don't really know people, and we don't really get a chance to chat like that. You were are a Cam Newton, because I thought, okay, I'm going to go live with this.
Mhm.
If only two people show up, or
No,
if I,
I seen your thing go across my feedback, and I called my friend Chef. I said, Chef, she having the conversation that we have it on the phone right now. Tonight we gotta hit that live. I'm like, we gotta be there. So I told him this morning, and so I put it on my community wall because I was like, I've been waiting for this conversation. This is a conversation that I love to get into.
what's happening is I'm moving out of that algorithm,
Uh-huh.
and into a different kind of algorithm. I discovered that there's, who- my subbies, they don't really like the beefing from me. That's
Hmm.
not what they come here for. They
Right.
like other things,
Yeah.
uh, other things, and I'm not in that headspace
Hmm.
to that back and forth with somebody.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I did try to do that for a little while. I got that off my chest, and I said I'm going to leave all of this alone. And rather than shut down the channel, I said I'm going to take it in a different direction. And whoever shows up, shows up. And I figure if I start to go live more regularly and just talk about topics in general, I don't know everything. Goodness gracious, I don't. Um, but no, J Truth, I don't beef because people can't get clicks and views off me. I just refuse to give that. But anyway, that's the back and forth. But yeah, I just said I would go live more, and I wanted to talk about Cam Newton because I'm a huge fan of his. And like I
Hmm.
said, I did see him in person.
Hmm.
Uh, did not close up, but honey.
Okay. See, yeah, Cam Newton played for my family is from North Carolina, so I knew Cam
Okay.
Newton played from North Carolina, and so that's why I've been watching Cam Newton since he was in Auburn. And so I'm a big sports fanatic. My son, we play football, so we watch football, we watch basketball. I'm a big sports fanatic.
Oh, okay. So if I want
So
to do more
yeah,
sport,
so me and Chef be always talking on the phone about sports. We talk about hot topics. We talk about a lot of stuff. So we just when I seen your live, I was like, Chef, we've been talking about this Cam Newton. This gonna be a great conversation because I like intellectual conversation that stimulates my mind. Don't get me wrong, I like the beats had to raise me. It had raised me, but as I get older, other things don't entertain me like it used to.
right? And we all like a little of the mess,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Because
yes,
otherwise, we're here for it.
yes.
But to the extent that you want it, go live about it. No, you can go other places for that. And I just thought, I've been a Cam Newton fan for a long, long time. Always liked him. Like I said, yeah, goodness gracious, saw the young man in person.
Yeah.
I can't get over that. I get all googly eye when I see some of these folks. I shouldn't, but I just think that he's a good guy.
Yes, he
People
is.
may
He
not
is.
like
I
his
mean,
swag.
he's different. The only thing I don't like about Cam Newton, I'm gonna keep it 100. I tell Chef all the time, I just hate his hair. Like we can just cut that hair off. That's the only thing I don't like about him. But I hate the hair. Okay, it's the hair that bothers me.
And he would have to cut it off if he wants a career in television as a commentator.
Yes, and
You
that's
think
why he
about
has a,
Robert?
and that's why he got a YouTube channel and not on a
Exactly.
regular ESPN or something. Because like, okay, and I tell my son this because he tell me this. He's like, Mom, it's not fair that I'm black and I can't wear dreads and blah blah blah. And I tell him it's the optics. It's the optics.
Mhm.
Because if you notice, when Cam Newton didn't have no money, he was at Carolina. What he had that clean cut haircut, but when he
Sure
got his
did.
money, what
Yes,
changed? That hair changed.
it sure did.
So
But
I'm just saying, when he didn't have no money, he had that clean cut hair. But when he got the money, that's when his hair changed.
and to go into TV, he needs to he if that's what he wanted to do, and there's a lot of money to be made, he could do what Shannon Sharp is doing, right?
Yes,
He
yes.
is in television, and now he's got his own podcast, and
Mhm.
he's really doing things.
Right.
But he would have to cut his locks,
Yes, yes.
unfortunately, because there's just certain things. Robert Griffin, who he is, he had to cut his locks to get a
Mhm.
commentating job on
I
ESPN.
mean, and I'm sorry to say, but let's be. I grew up in a house where a daddy got my brother got their hair cut every 2 weeks. My daddy didn't allow my brothers them to have long hair. They got their hair cut every 2 weeks. They was going to the barbershop.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
my son right now, he get to wear his hair, grow his hair out because he don't live in my roof. When he was living under my roof, he was getting a haircut every 2 weeks. Because it's one thing I do not like when it comes to black boys with their hair looking like Who Shot John. I want your hair looking clean cut because it's the optics. It's the optics. It's the first impression. And I tell my son all the time, when you go to a job interview, you have a collar shirt, a black slacks. You wear these kind of things, and sometimes not having the black men in the house, some of these black brothers don't know how to dress.
They don't know how to dress, but contrary to how the media, and maybe they were kidding when they said it, although I didn't think it was funny. Travis Kelsey did not invent the fade that has been
Okay, she showed it.
Oh my goodness, my dad has a fade. Come on. Uncles
Okay.
have fade. If they got any hair, they got a fade. So
Right.
you know,
Right.
it's just this what Ronnie Q was saying earlier, though, this whole cultural appropriation, culture vulture. Suddenly the fade is in for non-melanated guys, right?
Yes.
So when the fade has been around for a long time.
Yeah, my son always had a thing. I was like, Charlie Kelsey did it and it did that. I remember them haircuts in the black barbershop where I go to every Saturday with my guy friends. And when they go, they get intimidated because my friend be saying, don't test Andrea because she know about basketball and football and your feelings gonna get hurt. So I'm letting y'all know right now. She been in here for years. She know about this sports thing.
Oh yeah, I definitely. I love talking about sports. I just do, and proud to say that one of the first people on over here.
I don't think all men should look like Genuine. I think all men should have a clean cut hair. That's all. If you're gonna rock the ball, I don't have a problem with the bra either. But look, Cam Newton hair, I can't. It's just the
I
hair.
like Cam Newton of his hairstyle years ago. I don't like this one.
Me either. When he had that clean cut haircut, I'm telling you, before he didn't have no money, when he was in Carolina that first couple years, he didn't have no money. But when he got his big contract, that's when the hairstyle changed.
It sure did. It did change. And if I were his mom, I'd take him aside and say, "Okay, let's cut the locks so we can get you on TV."
Right. I would too. I was like, you a quarterback. You look at Tom Brady that's got a job with Fox. He got a clean cut hair. His hair ain't wow. I'm just saying, it's like we always want to express ourselves as Black community, but at the same time, is in corporate America, it's a difference. It's a different ball game.
It is, and when
you gotta be a clean cut to get that good that TV deal. And Cam Newton could be on CBS, Fox. If he had, look at Michael Strahan.
Okay. He is a prime example of moving from from the field to TV and talk shows and game shows. He is, and I wouldn't consider him a sellout, not at all.
No, I don't consider Michael Strahan a sellout. I did
But I
not
know
consider
some
him a
people
sellout.
would. But when he was in the NFL, he wasn't wearing locks, and
No.
you know, so
Like
chefs.
like I said, is my son right now. My son right now. When he go gets his haircut, when he gets his haircut, it look like his father. That he young, but when he let his hair grow and be thick, he looks like he's older. And I tell him this all the time. I was like, "Got your haircut? You look young." But when he let his hair grow out, he looks older. And I said that was the same problem your dad had. People used to think that he was much older than me when we got married. It was like, why are you marrying that old man? And I used to tell my friends he's only 3 years older than me. But I'm gonna say it, and now my ex-husband, he's bald now, and I'm gonna say it, it's the optics. It's the optics of how you dress and how you look. And if you're not corporate America looking like you're polished, Cam Newton was polished with that clean cut hair.
Right.
And now I've been like, what the hell is the hair going?
And see, that's
Yeah.
the whole thing. Young people don't get. It's all about the optics, and
It's all about
unfortunately,
the optics.
it's all about the optics. So I think that if he had laid hands on those young men, and nobody would fault him for doing that, but the narrative would have been, oh, Cam Newton goes off because
Right.
Matt Barnes, I think he doesn't.
Oh, Matt Barnes just got fired. You know, he was doing commentary for the Sacramento Kings, and he got fired because he was at his kids' basketball game, and just acting the fool. Okay, and he got fired. Okay, Matt
Yep.
Barnes is a wild card. I'll tell anybody he crazy as hell. He a wild card. He always get fired somewhere because he do too much. He don't know
You're
how to
right
control
about
his
that.
anger.
You're right about that. He doesn't have that calm demeanor. He's just immediately. This is going back in the day, but a Ron Artest, I'm let's
Right.
have it kind of guy instead of okay. But yeah, he just got fired again. It isn't that he can't do commentary, but he continues to do things.
He don't know how to control his anger.
And he should know, being a former retired player at this point, that it is your son or daughter, but at the end of the day, you have to let the coaches coach. It's one thing to say something about them in the way they're talking to your son or daughter. I would get on them about that because I don't believe in the screaming and hollering. I don't think you need to make, as a coach, you don't need to do that to make your point. But otherwise, you have to let them do their job. Otherwise, you end up getting fired because apparently, I think he did lay hands on somebody. I don't know, but
did he lay hands on somebody?
Yeah,
well, I knew he laid hands on when he left the Golden State to go to LA to see his baby mama. He laid hands on her boyfriend. So
he sure did.
Matt Barnes. I'm telling you, Matt Barnes ain't rap tight. I keep telling you, he has an anger issue, and that anger is gonna flare up at any job that he's at.
You're absolutely right about that. I mean, I have seen him in interviews where he's just very calm, and then I have seen him go ham. That's an old term, but I've seen him go ham, and I'm like, what's going on with you, Matt? I mean, you're right. There are some serious anger issues, and you would think he's in his 40s now, so you would think he would have at least addressed that. He's going to have. He's going to have to address it because, again, his children are looking at him, and now they're thinking that.
And that's what I'm saying. And this, where he was talking to his the mess with the coach. This was a Caucasian team too, so you can't go up there acting like the crazy black man either. So I'm just saying, when is Matt Barnes going to learn your anger going to get you in trouble?
And at this stage, there's no excuse for it now.
No excuse. You just only got the two boys. You have other kids that you're raising too. He has a small son with his girlfriend. They have a small son, and so you got the 13-year-old twins, and then you got your small son that you raising the step kids too. It's like, where are you going conflict resolution? And this is my ex-husband used to say, you every reaction has a reaction. And he used to tell me all the time, what did he say? He used to tell me this. I got what he used to say. I used to say rude things to him. And he used to say, Andrea, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. That's what he used to tell me all the time.
And he's right about that. At some point, you have to stop commenting.
Right.
And I always keep that in mind and say, well, if I don't have anything nice to say, I'm not going to say anything. But what I'm not going to do is troll, because I notice a lot of people will go on these the celebrity, not the celebrity, but athletes pages and so forth, looking for problems, right?
Right.
If I don't like you like that, I'm not going to comment. And even if I do like you like that, I'm not going to comment. And Chef says the fact that the young men focus on style and appearance allows the others to judge who we are. And based on how we present, that within itself signals us to carefully choose how we present ourselves. I would say the same thing for young women too. I'm not particularly happy with the Instagram
Me either.
thoughts.
Me either. I don't like the thoughts. I don't like Sexy Red. I don't like Krishan Rock. I said them they need some therapy and sit on somebody's couch. I tell my daughter that all the time. I said this music, and this my son is 25, and he was like, Mama, these young girls are ruining the Black woman. That's my son who's 25 just told me that a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Because some of this stuff, it's like it's like, yes, we used to hear this back in the day, but you know what? Like in the songs they used to write, they used to disguise that kind of stuff. Now, if they're just so out here and vulgar, it's just raunchy to me.
It is, and there was a way that Marvin Gaye could finesse, right?
Yes. Yeah.
He could finesse, but we're not even seeing that. It's just so out there and explicit.
Yes.
It's not suggestive.
Right.
And so that's a problem. But
I used to tell my daughter, I said, my mom used to say, leave something to the imagination. Y'all don't understand that. Y'all want to wear everything showing every figure, every breast, every thigh, every got tattoo, Krishan got a tattoo on her face, and it was some things we didn't do. Tattoos, we they're on our body. We wear a collar shirt, we can cover that up. Y'all it's too vulgar. It's like, where is the respect for yourself?
See, and then that goes back to the point I made earlier about you got to have some respect for yourself. You can't expect for people to respect you if you don't respect yourself. So, and again, that starts at home, because that's self-esteem building there, where moms and dads should be teaching youngsters, confidence and so forth. I think young women focus a lot on style and appearance too.
More, I think they focus more than young men do.
Yeah, yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I just, because of what they're seeing, they see these really provocative pictures of, there was some discussion. I know this is veering off a little bit, but that's okay. About Blue Ivy being too dressed up too much like she's only 12. I think she's 12, right? And
is she
some people
12?
Is she 12 or 13?
I thought she's 13.
Okay, she's 13. But there are some people who thought that she was a little bit too adultish.
Where at the Grammys?
Grammys, yeah. I said, oh, okay. Because I had a couple of friends who called me up complaining about that. We talk about other things, but
you thought I thought Blue Ivy was cute at the Grammys.
I didn't think she was adultish. I thought she was cute.
I thought she had a little white dress on.
Yeah.
I thought she was cute.
Yeah, I thought she was too. So I didn't know what
I thought she was cute sitting by her dad in the white dress.
Yeah, I thought so too. But my friends, I said, I looked at it again and I said, I don't understand your complaint. She's 13 years old and she's dressed appropriately to me, like a 13-year-old young girl would be. And her parents are obviously there. So I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I didn't think. Well, ain't nothing. I haven't seen anything that Blue Ivy wears that is inappropriate. Even when she was at the Super Bowl with her father, she looked cute, and with her little sister.
Exactly.
So
And
I
now,
mean,
her mom is, yeah, Beyonce has a entirely different presentation, but not for her
yes,
daughter, right?
yeah,
She's trying to sell some albums still.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I thought Blue Ivy looked really cute at the Super Bowl with her father, and then at the Grammy she looked cute. You know, well,
I do
some
like to see. Yeah,
some kids do dress older for their age, but I think
yeah,
keep them in a child place. You gotta let them like grow. It's a rite of passage
it
in some.
is. It is. I remember when I could wear pantyhose, right? Because all of that was negotiation with my mom. She was something else. She really was. I tell her that too. But in hindsight, it's always 2020. She was just doing the best, because she didn't. Her and my dad were just doing the best
Yeah,
at that.
my mom had a rule about no makeup until I
Yeah.
was I was in my junior year. She had a rule I couldn't wear no makeup, but I had friends who was wearing makeup my freshman year in high school, and then I was at school with makeup on, and I went home and took it off, and my mom was like, "Did I tell you no makeup?"
See, you were trying to be slick.
Yes, yes,
And see if your daughter did that to you, it might be a different conversation, right?
yes, yes. But I did
Yeah.
tell my daughter. I did tell my daughter, but mom had a rule about no makeup to my 11th grade.
Okay.
So
That's fine.
I had the conversation. I said I did tell her no makeup until 11th grade. That's crazy because I did the same thing my mom did to me. But yeah,
Yeah, it's again, you are mirroring what you grew up with, and
right,
so that's you grew up with strong role models in the house, and so that's what you saw, and so when you have your kids, again, that's how you are parenting, and I
right,
think that there's just too much of this. Oh, well, let them do whatever they want to do, and if they don't feel like eating carrots tonight, that's okay. And, too much entitlement at a very, very young age.
yeah,
And this is spoiled brats, is what you're creating
right, right,
without generational wealth and
right,
without the ability to discern, because society doesn't have patience for young Black men or women. They don't have patience for us, period. Right.
right,
Um, so, it's too easy to get caught up in that whole system where you literally go to prison, or, you end up somewhere else. So it's code switching.
right.
You can act a certain way. Um, you can act as don't you can act a certain way when you're amongst friends, right? But when
Yes,
you and I know, and Chef knows this too, when you go into corporate America, what are you going to do?
you gotta,
It's not a yes sir, no sir, and it's not acquiescing. Because young people will say to me, well, that's a yes sir, no sir. I said, you need a job, sir.
right,
You gotta learn
right,
how to survive, sir. So
right.
it's about survival.
It's-
Um,
and that's the I think that's where some of the young people miss that point. It's about providing and providing for yourselves. And so you might have to go into corporate America with a collar shirt on. You can't wear your hair. You can't wear your hair looking like any kind. That's a it's how you gonna take care of yourself.
right, right. And that's what I try to tell some young people still now. You are going to go out into the world, and the world doesn't give chances to us.
Right.
Sometimes the first impression is the only.
Yes. Yes.
They don't believe in second, third, fourth, fifth. You know how some people continue to get into trouble. Robert Downey Jr. and he's not anymore. He's totally fine now. But look at the Majors, Jonathan Majors, the actor, got caught up
Yes.
in the.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, he's not working.
Yeah, because he just got convicted of domestic violence.
Right, right. But the Charlie Sheens, who are off the chain, they continue to work.
They continue to work.
They
So
continue to work.
it's a double-edged sword. It's one rule for us and one rule for everybody else. And I tell my son and my daughter, you got to play the game. And I know y'all don't like to play the game, but this is the way it is.
It's about surviving.
It's
It
about
really
surviving.
is literally about surviving. And so if that's the game you have to play in order to survive in this world. That's the game you have to play, because it's a tough world out there.
Yeah.
And they don't give us chances like that.
And Chef
So
said Blue Ivy is 12 years old, and she still looked like a 12-year-old in that white dress to me.
To me too. I
Mhm.
think that especially one of my friends, she was it might have been a day for her. It might have been, corporate. She's in corporate America too, and you know how it is. Just a Black woman trying to make it, and you know how it can be with
Yes.
these careers and jobs and all of the things on our plates that we have to do. It's hard.
Yes.
That's why so many of us have so many health problems so much younger than we do, because we just have too much stress.
Right. Right.
The stress is literally killing us.
Right.
So,
and then bad food is killing us too.
the bad food, you might need to, well, as high as meat is, it's forcing you to be a vegetarian at this point.
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, if you don't, you can't eat those neck bones, and you can't
right.
eat
right. Well, girl, thank you for letting me come up. I really appreciate it. Anytime you want to have a talk about sports, I'll be here. I'll be here.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming up. And I'm going to wrap this up by saying that, I think that Cam Newton did the right thing here. I hope to hear his side of it. Not that he really needs to explain. I think he is going to continue to be in the community, whether people want him to be or not, because I think they're trying to run him out, and he's not going to do that. That's how I see it.
I just think all he needs is get better security when he's out in the community.
I agree. I would put that as number one. If you're going to do that, take your resources, then get the better security where people don't even have access to you, because that's what it's come to. They can't, they have to talk to you 6 feet away or 3 feet away, whatever the case might be, but get better security.
Yes. Well, thank you for letting me come up.
I know I'm not. Huh? You too.
Okay.
You too. Bye. Chef, I'm going to end this, but I'm not disrespecting neck bones. I'm just saying that, we can't eat them like we used to because of health and so forth, and they're too expensive to buy. Strictly Platinum, thanks for stopping in. You are such a great support. You come to every live, and I have to confess that I didn't even know that I was going to do this live. I put it out there and I thought, oh, I don't know. But then just Andrea sent the thing saying, oh, I can't wait for your live. And I thought, she's holding me accountable here. So I have to go live at this point. So I'm happy that you all were able to stop in. Chef, if you come in when I do have lives, I'm going to start going live regularly. I allow people up. We don't have to agree. It's not about agreeing. I just allow people to say what they need to say in the chat and so forth. You may have noticed, or maybe you didn't. People are really respectful in chat and so forth. So this is, not the place. But Yes, I think we should collab because we need to have some more sports talk. I'm all about sports a lot more than maybe some people. So we definitely need to collab and get into details. We can talk about Bronny, LeBron James, and this draft and so forth, right? Yeah, we need to. That'd be a good conversation to have. Um, from all indications, Bronny is not really that good, and I worry about him too, because of his health problems in the past and so forth. But I know his dad is anxious for him to play on the Lakers, and LeBron has maybe 2 good years left. Oh, okay, okay. I didn't mean to bring that up then, just Andrea. I'll have to be mindful. I'm not dissing him, but I'm just saying that I think the child that's going to be the star in the family, if you will be the younger son, as he apparently has more talent from everything I've read and what I've seen than Ronnie does. But it's hard to follow in the footsteps of your father. And when I stop and think about the people in sports, the athletes, the youngsters who have become greater than their dads, I just don't see it. Like Serena Williams said, her daughter, she didn't know if she wanted to play tennis. It would be too much pressure. Right. He does need more time in college. So the only person I can think of off the top of my head is Ken Griffey Jr., being more successful than his father was in baseball. But, that's the only person that I'm thinking of that, and maybe Seth Curry too, but I don't know. There might be that might be a debate as well. But I appreciate you all stopping in. Thanks so much for coming. Thanks so much for contributing. I couldn't have done it without you. And I'll stop at Just Andrea's and get Chef's channel so I can subscribe. And maybe we can do this again. I hope to do it again. So I hope you all have a good evening, good rest of the week. It is hump day, isn't it? So tomorrow is Thursday. Okay, this week has gone by fast. And tomorrow is it for February. So thanks so much for coming, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.